Hey everyone, my name is Anthony Acevedo, and this is going to be my student-led discussion over the Leadership Challenge. It's nice to see you guys actually finally. I'm glad that we had the chance to present still, especially since we've been reading the book throughout the semester, so it's good to get our input over what we learned and kind of things that we kind of grew from reading the book. But for my discussion, I'm just going to go ahead and lead right into some calendar updates and kind of just show you where we're kind of headed today. So going ahead where we're headed today, I do have some calendar updates to my best knowledge, so I'm going to do my best for you guys. But obviously today is our presentations due. If you're watching this, you probably already submitted yours. But if you are submitting yours, there is an extra credit opportunity to get feedback for the classes. So if you want to go ahead and go into that, that's there for you guys. And then also we do have our final exam coming up. I believe it's on the 5th actually. So May 5th, we're actually having our final exams. So make sure you're just studying the exam review, and you should do fine on the test, just like always. And then we're going to go ahead and dive right into my student-led discussion. I'll kind of give my presentation for you guys, and then at the end we're going to have a closing video that I like to include. So just a brief little video if you guys want to get I know you have time, but if you want to come around to it and watch it, it's a pretty interesting video. So for the leadership overview, I'm just going to be going over just how I've grown, what I've learned, and also what impacted me the most about the book. I would say that the Leadership Challenge was actually just a really good opportunity for us to kind of understand what it takes to be an outstanding leader. Considering that I'm in a position of management at my job, I just found it extremely beneficial to kind of learn different ways, practices, and just different things that we can kind of apply to our professional lives and see which ones work, which ones don't, or just things that we need to improve on. However, just by reading a book about leadership, I don't think that I grew very much. I think it's going to take a lot more to grow. It's good that we kind of learned this information early on, and actually kind of understanding what it takes to be a great leader based off the perceptions we had before. But it's good that we went through the Leadership Challenge together. Now we have all the information, the tools to kind of guide us to kind of grow as leaders. So diving into the specific things that I've learned over the book and just noticed and just really stuck with me was that all of us have the potential to be leaders. That's not something that it was like a breakthrough moment that I kind of discovered. It kind of presented it very clear in the Leadership Challenge. And even though it did present that very clear and throughout the Leadership Challenge, we've all just been exposed to that myth that leaders are born and not made. But that's just simply myth at this point. It's pretty clear after reading the book is that all it takes is just consistency with the leadership principles. And that's not something to make it seem easy. It's actually very difficult because just having to make sure that you're on top of it is going to be something that it's on you. It's not on the different factors. It's really just going to come down to But cruising right on to just specific things that actually impacted me the most about the book. I would say the most impactful thing actually was just comparing the principles and the practices that we learn to my personal qualities in leadership. For my position at my job, I'm in a position of leadership, so it's good to kind of use the book as a self-help book actually, just to kind of really reflect on just things that you just need to work on. Even though, since I work in a position of management, I'm able to kind of apply the learned principles, I can tell you I just haven't even come close to actually being a great leader. It's good that we have these tools early on to help us so that we can kind of grow throughout our professional lives, but it does take a lot of work, and it's something that you're just going to take consistent practice with. Moving on to exemplary leadership practices and kind of diving deeper into which ones impacted us the most, which ones resonated with us the most, and also which ones that we hold to the most value. It was kind of interesting and also kind of valuable just to see which ones actually we find the most important and kind of dive deeper into the why. So going right into which of the 5 principles actually impacted us the most, I would say that one of the most impactful practices was digging more into inspiring a shared vision. The reason why I chose this principle and was a little bit skeptical about it was that it just seems very difficult to inspire others and your team actually, if they may feel that they are not making a difference in their job and that their presence isn't important. I just feel that people are really comfortable coming in and doing their time, and that's pretty much it. We all know 9 to 5, people are really cool with just coming in and just doing whatever time it is necessary, and that's really it. But that, in my opinion, it just lacks passion, and without that passion, it might be hard to inspire others to kind of put in their best efforts, and even above that as well. When your team has that mentality, it might be hard to kind of formulate and also inspire a vision, because when a leader tries to come to their team and is like, what can we do to make this better? What can we do to make it better tomorrow? Ask them to clarify their values, and then also just let them know that their presence actually makes a difference. It may seem a little foreign to their team, but it's really important for that leader to actually encourage them and also preach to them that they all hold the qualities to change what can be better actually, and also that their presence matters and that they all hold the qualities to become great leaders and also make a difference. And with the right leadership, a leader can actually get his team to build the confidence to make differences, challenge the process. It actually just leads right into challenging the process. If a team inspires a shared vision and a better tomorrow, they're going to challenge anything that is not working or what could be better, actually. And it actually just leads to different innovation and also creativity as well for the greater good of the team. But it is important that that vision is actually established early on with the team, so that way they feel like they're actually contributing and holding their value towards the desired goals. I would say that inspiring a vision should be first before any process can be challenged, actually. The team needs to understand from history what wasn't working before, what isn't working now, and what ways that we can come collectively to improve these things. And that's going to come by them contributing their thoughts, ideas, in different ways that they can contribute to these changes. But mainly the reason why I found this the most impactful was just because I am the GM at my job, actually, and it kind of puts me in a position where I feel like I have to kind of run this thing by myself, and it's kind of like a selfish vision that I have for my job. And it's something that I really never considered to kind of unify the team in what ways they actually think it could be better, because they probably can think of things that I actually never thought of before, and even better. I have a vision in my mind, and they could actually contribute enough to the point where that vision actually goes beyond what I expected. But moving right on to which principle actually resonated with me the most, it was hard to pick, but I actually just chose to enable others to act and encourage the heart. Because in my opinion, I would say even though they're principles, those principles are kind of hard to do if you don't have a certain personality. I would say that you have to be pretty empathetic and also compassionate for those to work, actually. Even though the leadership challenge made it very clear that great leadership isn't about personality. You don't have the charisma, you don't have that factor or anything like that. It mainly is just staying true to and consistent to the fundamental principles of leadership, sorry about that. But if a person struggles with being empathetic and compassionate, it might be hard for them to get their team to actually be enabled and also encouraged as well. It takes a certain personality. Some people don't have it, and it actually will be very hard to achieve, and it's going to be something that might take time and won't happen right off the bat. It does take time to build compassion and also show that you actually care about your employees, and it's something every leader should do. But the reason why this principle resonated with me the most is because it's all about creating a great work environment and also building a great team. I feel like it's really important for a leader to make sure that they're the most caring and honest as possible with their team, so that way the team can actually reflect that in the same way. Moving right on to the next point, I would say the most valuable leadership principle, in my opinion, would be modeling the way. I would say it's the absolute most important principle that eventually kind of develops the other ones to follow. It's important that a leader is actually kind of doing even though it's do what you say you would do, but do what you say you would want as well, and kind of just model the way for the rest of the team to kind of follow you. As we learned throughout the leadership challenge and different stories and practices, it's clear that title isn't everything to kind of get the ball rolling. For a leader to make sure that his expectations or his or her expectations are going to be met, they need to make sure that they're modeling that way for the team. Clarifying your expectations and issuing orders is easy for a leader, but it's pretty lazy, actually. So you can tell anybody or a team, hey, I want it this way, now go do it. But they're just going to do or put in whatever effort to just get the task done. They won't go above and beyond because you're not showing that you're going above and beyond to get to the same desired goal completed. I would say it's not necessary, but it's essential for a leader to kind of get their hands dirty for what they're preaching. Whatever they tell you, whatever expectations they have and aren't modeling it and being consistent with it, only just gives the opportunity for the team to reflect that same behavior and habits as well. If the team sees you not dropping the ball, whatever you say you do, they're going to follow you. Not because they're scared of getting fired or you're going to yell at them or something like that, but it just shows that that's the norm. The reason why this one was so valuable to me was just because of how consistent you have to be with this one. This is one where you don't really have a day off with. You always have to be modeling the best example for your team. One of my favorite quotes from the book, or the most impactful quotes, was either you lead by example or you don't lead at all. And that one really kind of stuck out with me just because it's a kind of a quote that kind of puts you in check. It really asks yourself, if you really want to lead, you need to make sure that you're doing everything right so that way you can reflect the best behaviors for the people that you eventually lead. So closing out with the future growth section of our leadership challenge presentation, how do we want to grow as leaders, which principles do we want to learn and grow in, and also where do we see ourselves as leaders in the next 5 to 10 years. Going right into it, I would say that I would like to use the book actually as a guide or a pathway to improve our leadership, finding our way and our approach that we're going to go about applying these principles, because I feel like we've just really never been equipped with those kind of opportunities before. I've had many teachers and bosses say that you really need to step up and be a good leader and lead by example, but if you don't really have that tool or kind of guideline, it's going to be really hard to kind of figure out on our own. But it's good that we have gotten these principles so that way we can actually use them rather than just figuring out on our own, because for all we know, the way we go about it won't be the correct way. So moving on right to the leadership practices that I do want to kind of improve on and kind of grow in would be, first, just diving into inspiring a shared vision. I would say that one of the hardest things about inspiring a shared vision that I kind of want to grow on is building that confidence that it takes to kind of reach your desired goals. Painting the bigger picture and trying to plan ahead is a little scary, because whatever thoughts that you have in mind, whatever changes that you want to instill, take a lot of confidence to actually implement, to put on paper and everything and say that this is the plan and we have to go through with it, especially if you're doing that by yourself. It's something that I usually do, but I want to actually inspire other people within my organization and also just in my future too as well, to kind of collaborate whatever ideas and suggestions that they have and also what I have as well, and kind of come together and unify and create a movement to make sure that those desired goals kind of get achieved. I would say that even though it is important, it's something that I for sure struggle with. I still have that idea that a lot of people in the workforce are selfish. I would say that they only look out for their best interests, and that may just be off my own assumptions, but for the most part, I have that idea in mind that a lot of people don't put in the extra effort that they have to because they feel like it doesn't matter. Just like, if let's just say that you work at HEB and you're like a cashier, it might be hard to believe that whatever suggestions or ideas that you do have are going to make a difference because you're not in that top 10%. But that's just something I kind of had to get out of my head, because everybody is capable of making changes and actually achieving whatever goals that you haven't set or their goals that are set and beyond that as well, and make an actual difference. And another leadership principle that I do want to improve on would be also challenging the process. I know for sure that I don't really like change. I get really uncomfortable when it comes to the idea of change. For me, if something is working, I really just don't like to risk it. And that's something I really need to improve on, because it doesn't really help me grow as an individual. And then also, for considering leadership, it's not going to help me grow as a leader. I'm going to be stuck in my ways and not actually improve, because people change, things change, and leadership styles change as well. And it's good for a leader to be adaptable and making sure that they're changing for the better. But kind of just diving in right into where do I see myself in the next 5 to 10 years as far as leadership, it's just to never stop growing. I would say whatever company I work for, hopefully it's for some company I do want to work for, like with combat sports, like the UFC or One Championship. But I really just want to be, as a leader, the best example that I can be, the best employee that I can be, but also the best teammate I can be. I really do believe that change can come with a great work environment. When people are having fun, when people are actually having a great time and enjoying the people that they work with, that's when actually accountability is gained. And I would say that it's extremely important to better the organization. I really don't care about title. I've been a GM for about 2 years, and I can honestly say I don't really like managing and leading the whole group because it's a lot of work. It's not that it's impossible and not that I can achieve it. It's just something that's not really ideal for me. It's just a lot of responsibility. But I do want to still have that leadership in mind. I do want to be the best example I can be for the team and making sure that I can get everybody collectively working for whatever desired goals that we have, because I know that I have the confidence that I can make a difference, and hopefully I can spark that with other people as well. And that's just something I have to continue to improve on, whether I am in leadership or not. But thank you guys for listening to my Leadership Challenge presentation. I did enjoy getting the chance to kind of express to you guys what I learned throughout the Leadership Challenge, and also use this as a form of humility. It's good to see what areas that we're lacking. It's good to see ways that we can be better as leaders. But overall, it was a great learning experience that we get to do throughout the semester.